Mingla. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you again. After the Second World War and Burma's independence in 1948, Burma became a democratic country together with India, Ceylon, and Yugoslavia. They initiated the non-aligned movement. The elected Prime Minister U appointed Ne Win as Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces on 1st February 1949 and was given total control of the army, replacing General Smith Dun, an ethnic Karen leader. Born by the name of Shumong, that is a Sino-Chinese, a Sino-Burmese family at Paunde, Ne Win's early career reflected many of the key episodes of Burma's independence struggle. Always a bluff military man, he never displayed the political substitutes of his contemporary General Aung San. Friends remember his initial passion for sport, especially football. Having failed in an exam to study medicine in Rangoon University, he became a postal clerk. From 1930s, he became increasingly caught up in the anti-British actions of the time and accompanied Aung San as one of the famed 30 comrades who traveled to Hainan Island for military training by the Imperial Japan. Renamed Ne Win, which means brilliant as a sun. He returned home a few months later as an officer in the newly formed Burma Independence Army. By 1943, he was its commander-in-chief. But while Aung San and many of his colleagues resigned to enter politics, Ne Win continued to stay in the military. During these days, he worked very closely with the British as a delegate to the 1945 Kandy Conference with Lord Mountbatten, and later as the commander of the Burmese forces in Operation Flush to drive out the communist insurgents in the Plimana Hills. But in private, Aung San had begun to express concern about his wartime comrade, which his daughter Aung San Suu Kyi referred to many years as, "My father built up the Burmese army in army. My father didn't build up the Burmese army to suppress the people," she said. Now, when she came back, she discovered that the Burmese army is suppressing the people. In a country known as Yugoslavia of South Asia, the transmission to independence was likely to be fraught. Communist insurrections and army mutinies. The army mutinies in 1948 was followed by rebellions that quickly spread among the Karens, Mon, and other ethnic groups. As fighting raged in the doorsteps of Rangoon, the parliamentary government of UNU barely survived. They chose to call it a Rangoon government because they can govern only Rangoon. He became increasingly dissatisfied with what he saw as the failure of the politicians to overcome factionalism in government and insurgencies in the field. From 1958 to 1960, he briefly assumed power as prime minister during an interperiod during an interim period military administration. Then, in 1962, the ethnic tension increased. He seized power in a military coup d'etat, and brought an end to the short era of democracy. Federalism is impossible, he said. It will destroy the Union. This is the first dictator of the Union of Burma. The military coup on the sides of the streets of Rangoon. This is the Rangoon University Students' Union, the RUSU, Rangoon University Students' Union. And on 7 July, he blew it up like this because the students were demonstration in front of the Monday Hall. I was just one of the students here. On 7 July, this Rangoon University students was blown up and become a heap of lava. This building became like this. And that's what Ne Win had done. For 26 years, Burma became a hermit kingdom. Ne Win's strategy was twofold: to build a monolithic system of government under the Burma Socialist Program Party, while launching all offense against the insurgent groups in the countryside. Foreigners were expelled, the economy nationalized, hundreds of political leaders imprisoned. And when the students protested the Rangoon University in July 1960, the Union building was dynamite with dozens killed and wounded. Ne Win's political ideas were always very vague and sketch. Close friends believe that his inspiration for power came on a visit to China in 1960 to sign a border agreement with Chou Enlai. In later years, he showed house guests a fading flame of his meeting, which he thought put him at par with Chairman Mao Zedong. He is the chairman, chairman of the Burma Socialist Program Party. Chairman Ne Win soon became a favorite title, but there was never a real revolution in Ne Win's Burmese way to socialism. An odd mixture of Buddhism, Marxism, and the national principle outlined in just one thin book, a simple guide called For Burmanization. Shanty quarters are common sight in the major cities of Burma. Soldiers are always patrolling the shanty quarters, a shady place for the poor, tired family in a hot sun. Sidecar, the cheapest mode of transportation. Selling durian, a favorite fruit, on the roadside. And that is how he changed the Union flag to a new flag. He divided the country into regions, states and religion. And the Union flag of Burma, there's no star Here, the stars, it becomes so many stars like this. And this is the evolution. Far from quelling the opposition, Nguyen tactics a new cycle of insurgency. As the years went by, Nguyen behavior became increasingly obtuse. Many auctions were decided by omens and astrological predictions. Most bizarrely, in the 1980s, he twice demonetized the Burmese currency, wiping out all the savings of the millions of citizens overnight and reintroducing notes and awkward 45 and 90 just denomination, as everyone knew that 9 was his lucky number. 4 plus 5 equal to 9, and it is increasingly recurred in official pronouncement. He ordered the construction of the Kerwig Hotel to look impressive. It was his day that the big chute smoking is a common insight. A common life in the countryside became poorer and poorer. Temples of Bagam, the World Heritage Site, lay in ruins. After the Nagi storm, that old woman finding some firewood. So this is Nguyen's family life was a hush joke among the people. Officially, he has already married 5 times. First, he married Dortington in 1930 and later Kitty Batan in 1940. When he married with Kitty Batan, he has already have 3 children with Dortington, and Kitty Batan has already 3 children with her husband, with her former husband, Mr. Taunji. But he forsake his wife, and Kitty Batan forsake her husband, and they get married. And between them, they have 3 children. So the joke in Burma is you 3, I 3, we 3. And later she marries June Rose Bellamy and Anglo-Burmese. And of course, the last wife happens to be Dondini Min, a history tutor whom she married twice. It's a funny joke. Through this marriage, he had 5 children and gained 5 stepchildren. According to the Burmese Buddhist Venerable Uyewata Dhamma, it was never money, but it was the corrupt practice, it says. The country remained poorer and poorer. This is ethnic Padawan women of the Karenni state, now called Kaya state. This is the cheapest mode of transportation. Peasant Day celebrations were highly celebrated. This is the Burmese Socialist Program Party members marching. All the time, the economy was sinking to the brink of bankruptcy. In July 1988, when 48 people were suffocated in a van the 77-year-old Ne suddenly resigned, triggering a pro-democracy protest across the country that was crushed in September when his loyalists seized power and installed the State Peace and Development Council, and he retired from public life. So during his king, all the natural resources of Burma were traded with arms from China. There were mass demonstrations in the cities of Burma. This was called the 880 generation. The national flag was flown upside down to demonstrate the disapproval of the government. The Navy and the Air Force, only the Army remained loyal to General Ne Win. The Navy and the Air Force also participated. And his speech of resignation, how he resigned and make his speech. Let us listen. These are some scenes of democracy, 888 pro-revolution. Although he remained a figure of influence within the Burmese army, few people were expecting substantial changes for Burma after his passing. Marshal Tito, or rather like a Franco-like figure, he had done much to keep his country together in difficult post-independence years. That is the only positive aspect. He's in fact a great Asian despot who would be proud if his epitaph was to have kept Burma free from the crisis of modernization and international power struggle that affected his neighbors. He died on 5th December 2002 in a country that has become synonymous with human rights abuse up to this day. I think I should stop here. Thank you very much.